Hello everybody, and welcome back to the OCs of the Loververse. And yes, I am still working out my ideal Gordon, I'm sorry. He's such a complex character, and you always need to do those complex characters justice. So until then, let's talk about a character I've been dying to tell you all about. Meet the one and only Bone, the coal-hauling diesel. And our first diesel in the series. We'll go into his backstory, personality, and livery. So without further ado, let's begin. Bone was built on the 30th of September 1986 as British Railways number 58045. Sort of a piggy in the middle in his batch, as his brothers before and after him received names. Bone and his brother-in operated coal trains, hauling trains that were given the term merry-go-rounds, which basically means it can unload and load trains while moving. This diagram shows you and is also one of the reasons why the class was built. However, years before Bone was built, in 1984 the miners' strike happened, and the coal market started to collapse in the UK. Bone was still highly optimistic, however. He performed well in his coal services and other trains. However, soon enough, him and his brothers would face something big. The privatisation of British Railways. Starting from 1994, British Railways network collapsed into smaller chunks to be given to new rail operators. And by 1997, British Railways had fully disbanded, with the Class 58s ending up in the hands of the Welsh, England and Scottish Railway, England's largest freight company. And unfortunately, the 58s didn't last long under the new owners, as the brand spanking new Class 66s entered service the following year. And starting in 1999, the 58s started to be withdrawn. And by 2002, all members of the 58 had been withdrawn from service. Thankfully though, Bone was one of the last members withdrawn. However, nearly 40 Class 58 were hired to operate in the Netherlands, Spain, and France. However, Bone was not one of them, and ended up on a cold, damp siding outside of Doncaster. However, the Class 58 Locomotive Society came to Bone's rescue in the form of cannibalizing parts from him to restore one of his brothers, 58016. And by the way, ended up being scrapped in real life, so yeah, that was all for nothing. However though, in the Loververse, this was not the case, as in the Loververse, after Bone's parts were cannibalized by 58016, he was purchased once again in 2008 by none other than the Crovan's Gate Preservation Society. Soon after Bone's purchase, he arrived at Crovan's Gate, with his bogies removed, parts of his engine was gone, and rusted up EWS paint. Plans for his restoration were underway. However, this restoration plan didn't get talked about enough due to all the new build plans that the Preservation Society had commenced years prior. Thus, Bone was left in the shadow once again. He thought this is where it would end, him never being put back into service, just ending up in a museum he didn't belong in yet. Plus, Bone wasn't needed on the Northwestern Railway, as Sodor hasn't seen a coal mine in over 40 years. And what would a diesel like him have compared to steam engines? He'd simply never see the main line nor coal again. Thankfully though, fate would have other ideas, as in 2016, a site for Sodor's nuclear power plant was being looked for, and one of the sites was considered directly next to the ocean, similar to where Sellafield is, and the expeditioners found coal on the North Tip. And after 40 years, the Sodor Coal Board was reinstated to construct a coal mine on the North Tip of Sodor, precisely northeast of Harwich, and these mines were constructed to service the North Western Railway and its locomotives, as England at the time was thinking of shutting all of its coal operations. And to speed up load and unload times at locomotive facilities, the merry-go-round system was implemented. To see if this service was reliable, Luna was tested out on the first coal trains. Luna's performance, however, was underwhelming, due to the fact that steam engines weren't used to the system, nor the rest of the diesels in the Northwestern fleet. This issue, however, was short-lived, as Peter Sam found Bone rusting away, and had previously heard of the Northwestern's predicament. Peter Sam then told the manager of the Crovensgate Preservation Society, with the manager then telling the Fat Controller, with the Fat Controller saying Bone was just a diesel they need. So, Bone was taken to Crovensgate Works and restored, now being owned by the Northwestern Railway. He was given Northwestern Railway lettering and was Northwestern Railway's number 77. Bone was restored by 2020, but had his first run in 2021. He was trialled out on the merry-go-round train and afterwards was a complete success. And when stuff slowly got back to normal by 2022, Bone was making trips like there was no tomorrow. And that's where you can find Bone today, hauling coal trains on Sodor and sometimes to heritage railways on the mainland, sort as a walking traveller, and is definitely Sodor's top 10 underdogs. Definitely a enterprising diesel. Now onto his personality. Bone is an introvert. He's not really a fan of the big roundhouse at Tidmouth, as there's a lot of social interactions. And he's usually shedded up at Harwich with his own shed, kind of like Toby in the show. However, that doesn't mean that he doesn't have friends, as he is great with Boko, Bear, Daisy, Walter, Barry, Duck, Luna, other diesels, etc. However, his best friend is the coal mine's own little tank engine called Jessie, and you can imagine they talk a lot about coal. As for his livery, surprisingly, he does not wear an N.W.R. livery, and is one of only few who don't. He wears his mainline triple grey livery. Of course, though, he's got N.W.R. lettering and numbering, as previously mentioned. Everyone is confused on why he doesn't wear an N.W.R. livery, but he says he doesn't want a flashy livery with green, blue or red. He wants something that's minute, and he doesn't care about how he looks. He cares about his uses and duties. And that is Northwestern Railway's number 77, Bone. One of the only few diesels who benefited from steam engines. If it wasn't for Sodor, he would have been gone a long time ago.